In a world where shadows linger and stars gleam, stories are woven from the threads of a dream. Within the tome of reveries, the tales ignite. Join me now, where wonders take flight. And so, our story begins.
You know, it's funny where life leads you. One day you're a bright-eyed farm boy, dreaming of adventure while scratching out letters in a monastery, and the next thing you know, you're a grizzled mercenary captain writing about magical wicket gates and forests that eat people. There were about 20 rather eventful years in between, involving a lot more running and screaming than I'd care to admit. I suppose I should explain myself. I'm Harold Whitby, though these days most folks call me Old Hard Luck Harold. Not because I'm particularly unlucky, mind you, but because I've survived enough misfortune to fill 3 ordinary lifetimes. Lost my left eye to a crossbow bolt, my favourite boots to a particularly aggressive patch of quicksand, and my entire collection of romantic poetry to a troll. That last one still stings. I had some quality verses in there, but I'm not here to bemoan my losses. I'm here to tell you about the Wickets, those mysterious structures that dot our lands like pockmarks on a plague victim's, no, perhaps that's too grim. Let's say like holes in a very expensive cheese. There, that's more the tone we're looking for. My first real encounter with a wicket gate came during my initial mercenary contract. I was 18. Full of pride and stupid courage, having just left behind a promising career as a scribe because I thought waggling a sword looked more impressive than waggling a quill. The Raven Company had been hired to protect a hunting lodge along the borders of the Empire of Ace. Nobody mentioned that the lodge was half swallowed by one of those magical forests that spring up around the wickets like mushrooms after rain. I remember standing guard one night, practicing what I thought was a rather dashing stance with my sword when I heard singing. Not beautiful singing, mind you. It sounded like a tone-deaf giant gargling gravel, but it was coming from a tree. A tree that, I should mention, had not been there an hour before and wasn't properly there even then. I could see straight through it in places, like it was still deciding whether to fully exist or not. That's what they do to reality. They don't just break it, they make it flexible. Negotiable, if you will. I've seen rivers flow uphill near active wickets, watched clouds form into perfect geometric shapes, and once witnessed a flock of sheep start speaking in perfect Idlemark court accents. The sheep were actually quite charming conversationalists, though a bit obsessed with proper grazing etiquette, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The wickets themselves, well, they're like doors that shouldn't be there, opening onto places that shouldn't exist. Some are grand affairs of monolithic stone, while others are a little more than tears in the air, like someone took a knife to the world's canvas. I once saw one that looked exactly like my grandmother's kitchen door, complete with the little notches where she used to mark my height as a child. I did not, I should note, open that one. I may be a fool, but I'm not that kind of fool. The forests that grow around them are even stranger. Regular trees don't tend to move around, or whisper old secrets, or try to trade riddles for safe passage. These do. I once spent 3 days in a philosophical debate with a particularly stubborn oak about the nature of deciduous existence. I lost the argument, but gained safe passage and a rather nice acorn that later turned into a silver coin when I wasn't looking. Now, most scholarly types will tell you the wickets form patterns, networks of power that influence the land. They're not wrong, but they're missing the poetry of it. These patterns aren't just lines on a map, they're more like steps of a dance. One that's been going on since before our ancestors figured out which end of a saw to hold. Sometimes the dance brings forth horrors of the dark, things with too many teeth or not enough eyes. But sometimes it brings wonders. I've seen flowers that bloom with actual starlight, their petals containing tiny constellations. Witnessed a grove where music grows instead of fruit, the notes falling like golden apples when they're ripe. Found a clearing where the air itself tells stories, if you stand still enough to listen. The wickets may be dangerous, yes, but they're not just about darkness and fear. They're about possibility, even if half those possibilities want to eat your face. The distribution of wickets across our lands tells its own peculiar tale. I hear the Holy Lands of Lift don't have a one. Makes you wonder what they did right, doesn't it? Or perhaps what they did wrong, depending on your perspective. My homeland of Albion has few enough, mostly sleepy ones that do little more than occasionally hiccup out a confused goblin or two. But the empires, now there's where you'll find the real excitement. Idlemark and Ease are practically infested with them, though many have been dormant so long they've been used as wine cellars. Not by anyone particularly wise, mind you, but it happens. I've spent years studying the wickets. First as a mercenary trying not to die, then as a scholar trying to understand why I hadn't died, and now as whatever I am. Some odd mixture of warrior, writer, and professional worrier. I've led expeditions into wicket-touched territories, guided lords on ill-advised hunting parties, and once ran a rather profitable business selling genuine wicket-touched curiosities. Had to stop that last one after a bottled fairy curse turned an entire village's hair into perfectly cooked spaghetti. The sauce was a bit much, I admit. But here's the thing about the wickets that most people don't understand. They're not just holes in our world. They're possibilities made manifest. Every wicket is a question the universe is asking, though usually the question is, what could possibly go wrong? Followed closely by, would you like to find out? They whisper, you know, the wickets, the forests, even the air around them. They've been whispering to me for years, but I only started listening after I lost the Raven Company near the borderlands. 43 good men and women, gone in an instant, I must focus. I must tell the truth. The wickets form patterns, you see, grids of power, linking to each other like a web, like a net, like a trap. I've mapped them, spent years mapping them. The walls of my study are covered in charts and drawings. Some say I'm mad, that I've spent too long in those lands, but I see it clearly now. The patterns, the purpose. The forests that grow around them, they're not really forests at all. I've seen them move, seen them think. Try to cut them down, the axes break. Try to burn them, the fire dies. The trees remember, you see. They remember what they were before they were trees. Sometimes, in the deep night, I hear them crying out their old names. The Empire's scholars call me unstable, but what do they know? They haven't seen what I've seen. They haven't watched a man touch a flower and dissolve into butterflies. I haven't seen the silver veins in the rocks near the wickets pulse like living things. I haven't heard the songs that the darkness sings. The Holy Lands of Lif, they say it's blessed there, untouched, but I know better now. It's not blessed, it's cursed. The wicket gates avoid it, like plague victims avoid healing houses. There's something there, something older than the wickets themselves, something that makes them turn away. My homeland, Albion, they say we're lucky to have so few. Fools, they're just sleeping here, dreaming their dark dreams beneath our feet. I felt them stirring. Every year, more wake up. Every year, the whispers grow louder. I should write about the practical things. Yeah, the influence varies. Some people develop abilities. I've seen a man predict the awakening of a wicket 3 days before it happened. He went mad shortly after, but he was right. Others change in different ways, like poor William from my company. Started growing extra eyes. Said they'd helped him see the truth. Maybe he was right. The resources near the wickets, silver, gold, gems, they draw us in like moths to flame. The Empire send expeditions. They think they can control it, profit from it. I led some of those expeditions. I won't talk about the things we found. Did you know that if you stand between 3 active wicket gates at midnight, you can hear the universe laughing? I did that once. Or maybe I dreamed it. It's getting harder to tell the difference these days. The dark forces aren't invading through the wickets. No, that's what they want us to think. The wickets are doors, yeah, but they're not for them to enter. They're doors for us to leave. But where do we go when we step through? That's the real question, isn't it? I've seen the truth now. The wickets aren't a threat to our world. They are our world. Everything else, the kingdoms, the empires, the forests, it's all just temporary, like drawings in sand before a tide. They are the only real things. I'm going back to them tomorrow, back to where I lost my company. I think I finally understand what they've been trying to tell me all these years. If anyone finds this journal, know that I wasn't mad. I was just finally beginning to see. They're calling me now. Can you hear them too? Such beautiful songs they sing.
The pages close, the story fades, yet the magic lingers and never decays. Until we meet where tales entwine, farewell, traveller, till the next time.